Hello, welcome to the Groove Agent 5 tutorial series. Today we're completing our examination of mixing. In the previous episode we looked at the standard methods of routing information from Groove Agent into Cubase, and we saw it implemented in the Beat Agent. Now the Acoustic Agent is a very different beast. It's really pretty incredibly richly featured. The Percussion Agent has an awful lot of the same features, so I'm going to talk generally about the Acoustic Agent, and most of it will apply to the Percussion Agent. We'll have a quick look at it separately later. You can tell right out of the gate it's a completely different beast. It looks totally different to the way that the Beat Agent does. And the first thing that we need to deal with is our lack of routing capabilities with acoustic agents. With Beat Agent, we've got an awful lot of flexibility at the pad level, at the instrument pad level, as to where that sound is going to go. We don't get that flexibility with the acoustic agent. A lot of those decisions are made for us. If we right click on an instrument pad, we don't get the option to route it anywhere. This tom is going to go where it wants, and there's nothing we can do about it. Where it actually wants to go is to the toms group. And there's the tom you can see. This is tom B. And most of the settings in these racks are pretty self-explanatory. We've got 4 auxiliary sends. We dealt with those in the previous video. We've got our pan options, our master slider, solo and mute, all really basic stuff. This is a totally standard channel strip. This channel strip routes to the toms group. Here is where we choose its output. So even though the routing to the tom B channel strip is fixed and there's nothing we can do about it, from that point onwards we regain control of our own destiny. And you can see that it's currently routed to the toms group, and if we wanted to send it directly into Cubase, this is where we would do it. If we head over to the Groups tab, you can now see here is the toms group bus. And again, we've got independent abilities to send to the auxiliary effects at this level. The entire toms group has its own pan setting and its own master slider, so we've got double control over this sound at both the individual pad level and at the group bus level. In the Groups tab, you can see all of the groups that are applicable to the entire kit. There are 6 of them. 3 of them are accessible via this tab. Here are the kicks and the snares and the hi-hat, and then we've got toms on their own, cymbals on their own, and percussion on their own. Now just a quick note, these particular groups and this particular configuration is unique to the kit. Each acoustic agent kit has its own setup. If I load, for instance, Simon Phillips kit, you'll get a different set of group names. Here you can see octabands and cymbals and different groups from the previous agent, but the fundamental principles are the same. You've got a Groups tab where all the groups are collected, and then after that each of the individual groups with their components inside. So here are the 4 sounds that go together to make up the kit group. In addition to the kit itself and the double layered group structure that we have for routing all of the sounds into the mixer, we've also got room and overhead mics, and these are over here. So we've got the room and overhead tab, and on this tab over here we've got a resonance tab and a kit mix. Again, these are particular to each kit. Not every kit has a resonance tab, for instance. Most of them do have the room and overhead. So these are like microphones suspended in the studio collecting the ambience of the kit. Just as you would have in any studio, you've got independent control over these things. And in the main edit page for the acoustic agent, you can see that this is where we determine how much of the sound of each of the kit pieces is sent to the room, overhead and resonance microphones. So this is where we can control the input levels, relative balances of the sound of the kit itself into the mixer. Now we'll deal with the actual agent, the acoustic agent, and all of its various settings in a separate video, but for now we're just dealing with the mixer stuff. And this is the master kit mix. All of these by default, all of these groups are routing into the master kit mix. Presumably because nobody could think of a good reason not to, they've actually put a tube saturator on the master kit mix itself, and this is where we control an overall level of drive from the entire kit. You can also swap the left and right channels of the drum kit from this button here if you want. It just goes on forever. It's absolutely insane. For every group and for every sound in every group, we have effects that can be applied to that fundamental like bass sound. So if I click each of these little yellow buttons, I'm turning on or off an equalizer, a compressor, tape saturator, and envelope shaper. I've just had Windows be very unhappy with me, so I've just had to restart my system. So I reloaded an acoustic kit, and we were in the process of talking about this ridiculously powerful mixing engine. And one of the problems with it is that there's just so much in it. It's a little bit overwhelming to keep track of all of these different options in all of these different pages and all of these different sliders. It's not really a very elegant environment in which to do your mixing. Wouldn't it be fantastic if there was a single button that you could click, maybe from a right-click menu that said something like Export Mixer and FX to Cubase, and when you click this magic button, it suddenly transforms the entire mixing suite inside Groove Agent into an exported set of functions inside Cubase. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could open the mix console and have access to every single one of those features inside the interface, all plumbed in, all good to go. Every single one of those options out of Groove Agent be exported into your mix console. Every EQ setting, every preset, every slider setting, every pan value. That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? So if you're using acoustic agent kits and percussion agent kits, this works for them as well. This is just the magic button. Now then, one point of sadness for anybody who's ignored my previous pleas to only use one agent inside any instance of Groove Agent. You only get one export function out of any individual instance of Groove Agent. So this is my single biggest reason for trying to convince you to only stick with one agent. The export option doesn't work for multiple agents, and this is just too good to turn down. This is some insane level of automation and integration inside Cubase. There is your entire drum suite with a single click of the button. So from this point onwards, as you can see, Groove Agent is done. It has nothing to do with the process anymore, and you don't have access to any of the mixer functions from inside here. You close that window down and you do it from inside Cubase instead. So I'll start a pattern up, and you can see full control over the entire thing. Here's all our groups, exactly as they were in Percussion Agent. Finally, I'll load a percussion kit. Let's have a quick look at one of those. Very similar looking interface to the acoustic agent. We've got our insert effects down below. The kits look exactly the same. This time they're not named by group. We have A, B, C, D, and these are simply pages of sounds. So they haven't grouped percussion agents together in the same way that they did with acoustic agents with a two-layer group hierarchy. Everything is at one level, but other than that, the functionality is very similar. We've still got a room mic over here, we've still got auxiliary sends, we've still got our kit mixer, and we still have the ability to export it to Cubase. So here is our kit mix, and here it is in the mix console. Let's get the full version up. So exactly the same strip, exactly the same options as the acoustic agent. Everything works exactly the same, just a slightly different configuration of your mixer group settings. So that's the Acoustic Agent and Percussion Agent mixing options dealt with, and pretty awesome they are too. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, please consider subscribing, hit notifications. You'll be sure not to miss my next episode. Hope to see you then. Thanks a lot.